My dear people of Ambazonia, fellow brave warriors of our liberation movement, my brave freedom fighters of the southern Cameroons, accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akurodes Day. Today is Saturday, December 17, 2022. My people, I'm coming here today so that we have the opportunity to talk about some very interesting things. Listen, I shared a video last night of Mr. Paul Biya in Washington. I know not too many actually have, a lot of respect usually for age, but this is not an issue of age. In this video, Mr. Paul Biya, who has refused to accept that he's incapable, decides that he must be at the reign or at the helm of his country. And why? Because France, Emmanuel Macron, they know he is the most malleable. They know he is a meilleur élève de la France. Because at the time he said meilleur élève de François Mitterrand. He actually been meilleur élève de la France, the best student of France, who will give France anything they want, any day, any time, anyhow. That is why France, even with Mr. Biya loitering around as a living ancestor, will want to continue to impose him on Cameroon. Look at it. That old man should be on his bed in his village, fighting freely, not to find himself before the vice president of the strongest country in the world, the United States of America, Kamala Harris, fighting on stage, looking confused, lost, coming across as a terrified cop, not knowing what to do, which direction to go. My people, just look at it. When they announced Mr. Paul Biya in pomp and ceremony, what happens? Let's cheers. Wee! Yeah, 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 yeah. Suddenly, the wait even for him to come in starts becoming long, 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 and long. When Biya finally comes in, assisted, they hold him. He can't even sit down by himself. Even when they support him to his seat, he can't sit down by himself. He sits on the chair. First thing he says, why am I the star here? Pourquoi je suis en vedette ici? Paul Biya doesn't even know where he is. I'm sure if anybody asks Paul Biya, where are you here? He will tell you that he's in Vomaka. Oh yes. Maybe he will tell you that he's in Gelemenduka. Or that is even in a bomba. The man doesn't know where he is. And then he asks, qui sont tous ces gens-là? Listen, this is a conference, one of the events of the summit, where Mr. Paul Biya is an illustrious invitee and a speaker. Suddenly he asks, qui sont tous ces gens-là? He doesn't even know what is happening there. He doesn't even know why he's inside there. And then he asks, are there important people among them? Poor Paul Biya doesn't realize that just before him, Paul Kagame had electrified the environment. Doesn't realize that seated in that room is the second most powerful person in the United States of America, Vice President Kamala Harris. Paul Biya doesn't even recognize the way he is seated. That room is made of heads of states like him, ministers, strong business people from across the world. He doesn't even know. He asks, is there an important person among them? When they manage to sit him down, Mr. Paul Biya, the Cameroonian guy from the presidency of La Republique who brought him there, tells him, okay, you're settled down. Now you have your microphone on your chest. You can now start talking. Mr. Paul Biya said, je dois parler maintenant. Will I speak now? He said, yes. He said, speak. He said, seated. He said, yes, seated. Why? Pourquoi? Must say because you have your microphone here. And the man talking knows that this talk he's talking might be getting into the speakers. He decides to walk away to avoid further exchange. Mr. Paul Biya, too old, doesn't even understand. Senile, completely finished. That is the man of the old instruction. All those old instructions you hear, nothing is coming from Paul Biya. Paul Biya doesn't even know where he is. And so the gentleman abandons Paul Biya on stage. The man sits there, bewildered, confused, overwhelmed, not even knowing what direction to take. My people, let me interrupt the soliloquy here to say this. That this is the man, that one Ma Esther, who has a shop in Langley Park. One Ma Esther, she is from the northern zone, who has a shop in Langley Park, that left Cameroon because she could not make it in that country, because of the bad economic conditions, because of the poor, horrible economic environment, because of the extremely unfriendly taxation environment, because of rampant, excruciating poverty. She left to the United States. She has a shop in Langley Park where she sells bags, African foods, and clothes. Ma Esther. So she came, she used the SCNC to obtain papers as an asylee. That's what my sources tell me. And then she settles. Eventually, she has walked away until she becomes a citizen. Today, this same Ma Esther goes out to Conrad Hotel to dance for Paul Biya, to perpetuate him and that bad system she has run away from in Cameroon, because she doesn't want that the people in that country should have the good conditions she's enjoying in America. Oh yes, our people shamed her, and our people said, this woman deserves to be cancelled. Anytime you buy from that shop, you are providing money for Paul Biya to buy weapons to clamp down on our people. A supporter of a genocidaire should be called out for who she is. Ma Esther doesn't care about baby Carol Louise, who was brutally cut off in Biya under Paul Biya. Ma Esther doesn't care about baby Tato Brandy, brutally cut off under Paul Biya. Ma Esther of Langley Park doesn't care about Mama Api, who was roasted in her house to death as if they were roasting meat. Ma Esther doesn't care. Onto her were Ngu Santos and Sofoncha. Do you know what they did? That duo, they went out to ask for audience. They requested for audience to have a one-on-one with Paul Biya in Washington, D.C. Ngu Santos and Sofoncha, butterflies, thinking themselves birds, asked to see Paul Biya. Paul Biya, back in his country, has appointed people ministers that have been ministers for 10 years, and they left the government without ever having the chance to have one-on-one with him. Oh, Pongo Santos and Sofoncha. Listen, these things, we say them, we laugh over them. But the truth is, being miserable doesn't mean that you don't have a place to sleep in. Being miserable doesn't mean you don't have food to eat. Being miserable does not even mean that you don't have people around you. It simply means you are morally bankrupt. Morally bankrupt. That's especially what it means. Being miserable. You have the faculties, the education to inform you on how to be impactful to society, but you decide to turn it around because you think that the easy wrong is the best place to go, because the hard right is too much hard work to attain the same objective. Too often, those who embrace the easy wrong get it wrong. I'm sure today, one Ashunyenti who said, Cameroonians, we are blessed. Cameroonians, we are made because we are blessed with a certain Paul Biya, our marksman, our goal scorer, our number 9, that they even gave him, the president of FIFA, Infantino, even gave him t-shirt number 9. Of course, we saw number 9 in Washington, D.C. Number 9 performed in Washington, D.C. Ashunyenti, I doff my heart to you. You know it. Number 9 performed in Washington, D.C. beyond expectations. The poor man was abandoned to himself. He sat, shuffled around papers, didn't understand what was going on. He started farting. Oh my goodness. So it came to pass. Danso Foncha and Go Santos were not given the audience to see Paul Biya and have one-on-one with him to ask him to gratify them because they betrayed 8 million people. Because Paul Biya doesn't trust anyone that has once, even for 1 second, decided to stand against him. If he did it as a decoy, Paul Biya took you seriously. Paul Biya believes in this mantra that when a people tell you whom they are, believe them the first time. That's why Paul Biya has always known that Southern Cameroonians will not remain in slavery and servitude forever. He has always known. And he said it in France, that they felt they were going to assimilate us, but it did not work. When he saw our subtle, non-violent, but sustained resistance to their assimilation tactics, Paul Biya believed us the first time. That is why people like Ngu Santos and the others who saw Foncha, he saw that they stood against him and he believed them the first time. Can't trust them. That's why he could not receive them. He refused to receive them. The Danko men sat in church saying, I'm saying that sunrise people should not. We saw it. So Foncha, you bite your tongue soon. Because Ambazonia is real. Yes, Ambazonia is real. And nothing will stop it. Listen, my people. A lot of people don't know why Paul Biya, even in his state, was forced to come to Washington, D.C. I want to unveil it now. And listen carefully. If you look at the composition of Paul Biya's delegation, he wasn't coming for a trade mission. No. He was coming for a military mission. Military diplomatic mission. That was brought Paul Biya here. So that's why he asked them, pourquoi je suis en vedette? Because they brought Paul Biya here with the notion that because some 3 Southern Cameroonians were indicted and arrested by the US Justice Department, it meant that the United States of America has decided to cooperate with La République du Cameroon to arrest its citizens and extradite to Cameroon. So Paul Biya was urged to come personally so that he will seek audience with Joe Biden and ask that those people send them back to me and then provide him a list like he did to Buhari, that these are the additional people I want you to capture and send to me. Of course, he did that with Buhari in Nigeria. Buhari is another dictator, another demagogue, another nonagenarian who's even senile and doesn't know where he is. That's why all kinds of insecurity is in Nigeria. You see, angry, sometimes I can speak bad English. That's why I say all nature of insecurity manifests in Nigeria today. That's the right thing I'm there to say. So my people, look at it. So Paul Biya brought, therefore, his Minister of Defense to a summit which is meant to talk bilateral economic cooperation and looking for an opportunity to do business in the various countries. I took the time to do some research about the composition of the delegations of other countries that were at that conference. None of them had military people in their ground. No. They merely had their external relations ministries and had their ministers involved with trade, involved with finance, the economy, employment, and things like that. But for Cameroon, it was different. So Paul Biya, wahala number one, he will not succeed in getting audience with Biden, with President Joe Biden. Despite being invited here, because he's supposed to be in good standing with the AU, the White House didn't make any sense for Biden to grace such a genocide, dictator. Do you hear that? Election bandit, to give him an audience to elevate him to that level. So Mr. Paul Biya was not only denied audience with President Joe Biden, they didn't even give him the chance to meet Vice President Kamala Harris. Not even the chance to meet Under Secretary of State Fee, who was in charge of the Bureau of African Affairs at the Department of State. I didn't even pass through the Secretary of State because that was going to be too big for him too. And so wherever they moved and talked, they told them U.S. citizens can never be extradited anywhere else. And then they reminded them, Mr. Paul Biya and his delegation, that if we are talking of Southern Cameroonians, they fall within a group of people who are protected under something called the TPS. So whatever the circumstances, it's unfortunate your demand cannot be granted. So Mr. Paul Biya still, therefore, was in between his legs. Disillusionment was at the peak when he found himself therefore going to this particular conference. And when he gets there, doesn't even know where he is, lost, confused. Est-ce que je peux parler? Je parle ici. Then finally, when the guy goes and waits for Paul Biya to either start reading his speech, he removes the thing, shuffles, confident understand what was, and then keeps it aside. Sits and starts looking at the same hole, and people look at him and waiting for him to talk. And then he farts. Apu! Permit me. I respect it, but when you decide to punish yourself, this is what you face. So Paul Biya farted in front of the Vice President of the United States of America. In front of all those ministers. He didn't even know that it happened. And someone said it might have been more than farting. I don't want to say what it might have been, but that is what it was. That is what it was. The disgrace is unimaginable. And then I was looking all over Washington to see Ashley Kwame was around with my classmate Eve Mark Mejo to come and tell us what was happening there. And then another person said, no. George Ngide Ewane was not brought to the United States in the team. He would have stood up to say, listen, that is a wonderful, befitting, excellent, unimaginable, welcome, never before seen presidential fact that needs to be applauded. And then he will say, when he farted, he actually intended to say that in his country, farting is allowed in public places. But none of them rose to the occasion to say anything. Paul Biya, when the man was in comes in, he said, but you are supposed to talk. I said, but why? There is nobody to introduce me to talk. But this is a guy who was introduced earlier. My people, I said the other day that the wind is blowing so hard that we are gradually, every day, seeing the real color of the anus of the chicken or of the hen. So Paul Biya now has been unveiled to the entire world. He's no longer in doubt. Everybody now knows that Paul Biya is vegetable. Everybody now knows that Paul Biya does not have the capacity to dish out haute instruction. Everybody now knows that Paul Biya can't even sustain a conversation. Too often he will not even know where he is. So who is ruling that country? So who is actually authorizing the genocide in the southern Cameroons? So you begin to see the imprint of the Ngongos, Chantal Biya, the Atanganjis, Betty Asomo, all of those people. Okalia Bilai Bernard, and the Benchofo. Lady Lafrique, the Benchofo. My people of Ambazonia, listen, there is good news ahead. There is good news ahead. Listen, I am extremely excited and I'm a happy man because finally the scales are falling off the eyes of a lot of people in our liberation movement. Truth is regaining its place over falsehood. Manipulation, misinformation, and deliberate spewing of confusion are getting gradually back into the trash bin where they are supposed to be. The future of our liberation movement is bright. Let us continue to push for synergy, for unity, and for togetherness. That is how we will overcome. La République du Cameroon is cash-strapped. That's why they are taxing their people to death. January is going to be a tough month because people will be coming face to face with the reality of the situation on the ground. Stay woke, my people. Stay alert. Stay motivated. Stay upbeat. Let us continue to bring a parallel to the resilience we see on ground zero. My people of ground zero, I want to reiterate and remind each and every one of us. 2 years back, we refused calls from some quarters to suspend the Monday ghost towns for the sake of Christmas and New Year. We reminded all and sundry by that act that those Monday ghost towns are until we reach Biya. There is no arrangement anywhere under the sun that will lift it. If you hear any morning, any afternoon, any evening, somebody tells you that the ghost towns on Monday are suspended, know that that information is straight from the pit of hell. Straight from the lips of Lucifer. Because my people of Ambazonia, nobody, trust me, will talk about that one. There will be manipulations. There will be fake calls and everything because that Monday ghost town is teaching La République du Cameroon a lesson. Oh yes. They are after that Monday ghost town with all their might. We have seen flyers that are placed claiming that they are from self-defense volunteers. We have seen all sorts of messages claiming that they are from us because that is what tells any visitor to the southern Cameroons that the people want freedom. To use the words used in the survey of Christian Cardinal Toumi on ground zero, that the people want absolute independence from an unacceptable, evil association with a genocidal country like La République du Cameroon. This is clear. Hear my voice. Don't listen to any such thing. Christmas is on Sunday. If Christmas were on our country Sunday, of course it will be a Sunday. It will be a country Sunday. But Christmas is on Sunday. Our country Sunday is Boxing Day. New Year is on Sunday. Our country Sunday is Boxing Day. Nothing should cause anyone to entertain any form of information. You hear it, know it is part of La République du Cameroon's propaganda manipulation machine. ignore it, jump over it. Thank you, my people. We have seen for ourselves what I keep saying, that the opportunity is close. La République du Cameroon is not oblivious of the fact that it will be an opportunity. It is true that they will simply be overwhelmed beyond imagination. But all the same, they are taking steps to prepare. That's why we need synergy to counter those steps. Let us stay woke. Let us stay determined, and let us stay resilient. To God be the glory.